Hey there viewers, my name is Torinski and welcome back to another Sunday stream. Today we're coming hot off of our victory in our second introductory run where we went in with Gree, the Gargoyle Earth Elementalist. And now we're going to start on a new challenge to take on, which I've never gone around to, which is to try and win the game with every single species that's available. It's kind of tricky because some of the species change between versions, and so if the trunk version ever comes out as the main branch, we'll have to decide what to do with, I think, halflings in that one, because I believe that they got nixed out of the list. But hopefully, because they're in the first column, we'll get the victory with them before any updates come anyway. So, without further ado, let's start jumping into a brand new game here. I'm thinking that as it stands right now, I'm probably going to be starting top left and going down through all of the simple races, and then through all the intermediate, and then through all of the advanced at the end. We'll see how it goes. If any race is really giving me trouble, or is really annoying, or not as much fun to watch, we may skip it for the time being, but we will have to get back there eventually, because the goal is to win with every species, not just some of them. So we'll be starting off today with a new Hill Orc character. I don't think last time around I went through the aptitude list thing here, so that was with the percentage sign on that first screen. This will be a little bit mind flooding if you're not familiar with the game, because it looks like a lot of info, but the main thing that we're looking at here is what the race that we are picking, or the species rather, Hill Orc, what it's good at, what it's bad at, what we might not have to worry about, and what we will definitely have to worry about. Fortunately, compared to the Gargoyle that we were playing last time, in fact, where are Gargoyles on this list? Gargoyles have a negative 20% to their overall health. This time we'll be running in with plus 10%, so we'll be a bit meatier in terms of just overall health. Won't have the bonus, excuse me, won't have the bonus armor class of being made out of stone, unfortunately, but should be fine without that. Other things to take note of is that our invocations is really strong, so whichever god we choose, we are really good at using their abilities and things like that. We will almost definitely be going with the orc-only god, because this is their only opportunity to worship BO. Otherwise, kind of general aptitudes, not that great at dodging. That's kind of what we experienced with the Gargoyle as well, so we're pretty much used to that. And then finally, decent at fighting, really good with axes, which we'll be taking advantage of. And then not amazing, but not horrible at any of the ranged options. And finally, in spellcasting, they are not great at all. -3 in general spellcasting, and the only positive is in fire with a +1. But we won't be worrying about that too much, because my two options on this that I was mulling over was either going with a fighter or a monk. A fighter is nice for some early survivability. You start with better armor, you start with a shield, and you start with a better axe as well. The nice thing about monk is when you do find your god to worship, you start with a little bit of extra piety, and that definitely goes a long way with an orc in particular, because you do want to, as quickly as possible, become the messiah to your people and stamp out all the heretics around the dungeon. That is the goal here. So I'm going to be going with fighter, take advantage of that early strength until we are able to find an orc priest or an altar to be able to worship at, and hopefully figure out the rest along the way here. But we'll be going in with a war axe, definitely take advantage of that incredible aptitude. And finally, for our name. Normally I just go with the very simple species background combo name, and we will in a sense today, but because we are a missionary of BO trying to spread the good word of our Lord and Savior, let's go with Elder Hofi. Perfect. And so begins the journey of Elder Hofi. Hopefully a long, successful journey, but we'll have to see. As usual, we'll go through kind of the start of the run checklist. So open up our skills here, make sure this time that we turn it on to manual mode. There we go. where was I? Right, manual mode. And then we'll definitely be wanting all 4 of these skills fairly consistently throughout the run. So I'll probably leave all of them on, but I will make sure to focus axes because we do want to get this down. In fact, I might turn off armor for just a little bit here as well. Try and get our attacks happening a little bit quicker as soon as we can here. And then the next step is I'm going to hit the equal sign H just to set some targets. Shields just needs to hit 15, and then we can use our current kite shield without any penalties, so that's good. And then I should check what the axe is. I'm going to set it to 16 for now, but if we go, I was going to right click here, but in order to kind of experiment and remember some of the hotkeys, if you just hit I for inventory and then hit the weapon, you can see, oh yeah, min delay is at 16 skills, so I did remember correctly there. So with that, our skills should be good, and then finally I'm just going to hit the backslash key and just set up to pick up a few things along our way. I really want all these throwing items, definitely want them. I used the hotkey on this one, but I should have used the mouse to make it a bit more obvious. Turned on magical stabs because it's always useful to pick them up, see what they do. And then definitely turn on stones and throwing nets and all of these good old evocables can go on. And with that, I believe we're ready. Elder Hofi. Start our journey here. It's always nice when your first enemy you run into is a plain old bat. And then just hit the S key, wait a few turns, and let the baddies come to us here. We don't want to go exploring off into the unknown. We are a pretty strong start here. We shouldn't have too much to worry about in the first few floors of the dungeon as a Hillork fighter. But you never know what the RNG might throw at you. In fact, this time I'm going to back up a bit because that's a huge wide open area. And so we will take our time here. Level 2 already, not too bad. We'll let all the enemies come to us. Oops. I'll tap out of the window. And then keep it going here. Yeah, nothing too much to worry about. Tabbing my way through. There we saw a little bit of when we have 2 enemies around us with an axe, we can cleave through them, which is definitely not something you always want to be taking advantage of, given the fact that surrounding yourself with enemies is probably a bad idea in almost every situation. But it can definitely come in handy when you have no choice, or when you're mostly surrounded by really weak enemies that you're not too concerned about. Definitely do some nice damage. So we hit level 3, which means we get our first attribute allocation here. In just the simple 3-rune game, which we're probably going for here, just to get wins under our belts, especially considering the fact that we won the last one. So if there's any chance for a little bit of a streak building up, that could be a lot of fun. So we'll try our best to keep it going. And so for this kind of shorter 3-rune game, I'm going to be pumping everything into strength and just trying to get our damage up as high as I can here. We probably won't have to worry too much about spell casting at all. We'd only really be concerned there if we found our way to the extended game, extended late game. What's my brain halting over here? Something tripped me up, but you may want to learn spellcasting for that, but not here. So this kobold here is a short sword of draining, which I don't really want to get hit by. We're early on here, so I don't want any skill drain wasting up some of the valuable experience that we've already worked towards and given us some trouble. So I'm going to use poison darts to try and get them taken down. Perfect. And then tab our way through the rest of the fight, and we'll pretty much just be using O and tab and a little bit of waiting around for the rest of the first couple floors here. Now that we've started to finish the exploration, I'm going to be a little more aggressive with moving towards enemies, because there are fewer spaces for more to pop out of the woodwork at us. We'll keep going. I think that's the first floor done already. So we'll just Shift X, right arrow key, and head down. Ooh. This is something that might trip us up, even with the strong start we have. So 2 adders. The poison damage can definitely do a number on us, especially since we don't really have much in the way of unidentified potions picked up so far in the game. So I don't really want to deal with both of them. The thing is that this one's 3 spaces away, and this one is 2 spaces away. So I could try and get one of them to me. The only thing to look out for there is because they're fast, sometimes they'll jump 2 spaces at once in one of my turns. And so I don't really want to be caught with my pants down there. So I'm just going to throw 1 poison dart at this adder. Normally I would try and fight this out, because or at least wait another turn to see if I only get one of them next to me. But because we're gonna try and play it a little bit safer, try and get a 2-win streak going, there's no reason for us to fight here, and let's just head upstairs and go to a different stairway for now. Hopefully we can find that same fight coming from a hallway instead. So I'm gonna bring this worm upstairs for similar reasons, to just be a little bit safer. And we're right here, so why not? And let's start exploring. Pretty soon here, there, that might be one of the adders we fought. So I'm actually, well, there is a hobgoblin between us, or just a goblin, I guess. I'm gonna back up a little bit so that we don't run into the second adder, and then can tab through for the start here. I'm not too worried about the poison stacks yet, or the damage. There we go. Nothing to worry about in the end, but 2 of those bad boys could have been all the difference, as they were both poisoning us during the whole fight, so definitely happy we played it a little bit safer. Keep letting enemies come to us. This is probably the second adder. I should maybe back away in case it's a third. Ooh, see, we got very poisoned this time. We do have 2 black potions now, so that could mean it's curing, or we got unlucky and got 2 stacks of something else. Well, I guess only unlucky if it's something bad. It could be really lucky if they're potions of experience or something, but I highly doubt that. So we can't run away, because the snake will just follow us. I was really hoping our first couple poison darts would have hit. Maybe while it's still relatively early and we're not fully in danger of dying, I'm gonna take one of these potions. Ooh, ended up being a potion of Berserk Rage. So let's quickly fight through this. And yeah, even with the cleave damage, got through the gecko as well. And then run to the stairs so we can head up while the slow effect of coming out of Berserk Rage wears off. So it was not a curing potion, but it did solve our problems, and I'm kind of happy I did it early enough there that we weren't doing it when we were already just 1 hit away from death, even with the added health that we get for going into Berserk. So now we'll make our way. I do think that was the 2 adders, now that we've gone up and down that same stairway and seen that neither is there. Ooh, there's a third though. We do know that we have the Berserk potion in our back pocket if we need it, and I don't mind using those up early because we won't really be using them very much in the late game. It becomes a bit of a sketchy panic button, and so now we'll hopefully not have to use it. Not at all. Immediately chopped the snake in twain there. And then things are looking a bit brighter. It's always tempting to take a really early altar, especially Nemlicks can be a lot of fun, but again, we're not concerned with that as our hill orc buddy here. So sometimes I like to use my mouse to click on the map when I'm playing on the tile set like this, and I think that's only offline that you're able to do that. And that's just really handy because if I'm walking over to an item with button taps, I'll often not pay attention and enemies will be revealed or they'll creep up on me as I'm walking and I'll find myself in a bad situation. But by clicking, it will act like the auto explore function where it will automatically stop me if I come into range of an enemy. And holy moly, a +2 helmet right off the bat here is definitely nothing to sneeze at. That's another 3 armor class. And then the only other thing we're on a lookout for here is to find a nice set of heavy armor, because we're kind of in medium to heavy range right now, and would definitely prefer to have something a little more beefy on. This hunting rune sling is what I was going to say, but ruined hunting sling is the way it's labeled. Could be something that's really handy to us. It's a nice one-handed ranged weapon to switch to and from, and it can launch stones as well. So we'll pick that up for now. Maybe wait to wield ID it for just a moment. I'm going to let the bat come to me. Bats are always such a pain to fight. And get some poison stacks on the worm. Keep it going. But, oh, I guess on the note of that sling that we picked up, I am going to also turn on our sling bullets to auto pick up, just in case we find any, so we don't have to pay too much attention to that. Hopefully that sling is half decent, because it's nice to be able to keep our shield on and switch back and forth between a ranged option and a melee one, just so we can hurt enemies as they are stepping towards us. I guess much like we're dealing with when we're fighting things like centaurs and having to take arrow fire the whole way up. But that's dungeon 2 cleared with no problems whatsoever. So we can just keep it rolling here. Always scared that we'll run into some really scary early named uniques on dungeon 2 and 3, but nothing so far. Oh, I also shouldn't jinx it quite like that. Just check my phone real quick. Make sure there's no emergencies. No, all good. Okay, jackals, not too scary at this point, so I don't worry too much about fighting them out in the open, especially with our axe. That's, I guess, an example of where, with weaker enemies, you don't mind too much getting surrounded. And there we go. I was slightly worried about that ant, much in the same way the adders can get badly poisoned and don't have much of a way to deal with it at the moment here. But fortunately, we are also getting stronger as we go here and taking them out a little bit easier. Our attack is now at 1.3 speed, so it's getting there. Still a ways off from min delay. Or I guess not even min delay, but just hitting once per turn, which is the goal in the early game here. And yeah, we'll draw all the enemies into this nice choke corridor. Keep it going. The next real level of excitement, besides something scary showing up, is running into orcs for the first time. So this is just a plain old orc buddy, which we will take out. Sorry, friend. If you'd only met me later in life, we may have been in friends. So unfortunately, it was just the lone orc. I mean, normally we would be super unhappy to find a priest orc pack on Dungeon 3, but when you're playing as the Messiah, it's all you're asking for. Because the earlier we find that an orc priest, which is usually easier than finding an altar TBO, but the sooner we find an orc priest, the sooner we can start spreading the favor of our good Lord. So nothing too exciting or scary here. A bunch of weak enemies, but definitely still incrementally improving our abilities here, so we can't complain too much. I'll do a little check over of consumables and whatnot now. We're just about at the threshold where I should probably start reading some of these and figuring out what some of my equipment does. So maybe we will do so. I'll start by putting on this ring of fire. So we don't want to wear this all the time. This will make us resistant to fire, but vulnerable to ice. The spell casting effect it has, no use to us. But we'll definitely keep it around for now as a bit of emergency fire resistance if that becomes necessary. We can hold or wear the Ring of Light. No real reason not to. And then, oh, we'll wear the sling. Ah, so it was cursed. This is why we were waiting to wear this, because without any scrolls, there's very little chance of me being able to survive with something like a -2 hunting sling. So I'm hoping that one of these scroll stacks is remove curse. Perfect. And I wanted to wear everything I could before reading any scrolls here because I didn't want to waste one of my remove curse scrolls. But this was way too lucky, and we definitely can't rely on this kind of thing all the time. But fortunately, that was the remove curse scroll that we tried there on our Q slot, and so we're gonna drop this trash hunting sling on the floor, and we'll just leave that alone for now. Also, keep forgetting to hit the loop button on my soundtrack. This time I started at the end of the playlist. Get that back going. But okay, running into some stronger enemies now, which means we may start finding some orc packs. Ooh, don't want to fight an ogre that much. We should be fine, but I'm gonna try and soften this buddy up with some poison darts. And by the time they get to the stairs, we should be able to just duke it out, no problem. Ooh, and that does give us a nice chunk of experience for taking out that buddy this early in the dungeon. Hitting level 6 for another level of strength. Almost mixed up the words there. And nothing else hurt the fighting either, so we'll just keep exploring, let enemies come to us so that we don't find ourselves against 2 scary monsters at the same time. Yeah, we were lucky against that other ant, but I'm always scared that that fight could go a lot worse with some bad luck. And we will start moving once more. I should be throwing some weapons of some sort as enemies approach, but actually, I just told myself this. Might as well do it there. No real reason not to. Ooh, 1 orc? More? Friends? Friends? No friends. But a nice pair of gloves, potentially. Hopefully a nice pair of gloves. And a ring, as well as an early potion shop here. So I will definitely buy a potion of curing, both to get my hands on one and to also just identify it for us without having to waste one unnecessarily. And by the same token, I'm going to buy a health potion as well. Maybe buy the second potion of curing. They're pretty cheap anyway, so might save our life picking up a couple of those. We'll also highlight the potion of attraction for the future potentially, maybe the potions of resistance in case that becomes necessary, which hopefully not, because that's always a sad day when your run relies on consumables for just base resistances. And then we'll keep going, mostly tabbing our way through the masses here. At least that's the dream. Hopefully don't run into any Sigmunds or grinders down here. And that is D4. All complete. I'm really crossing my fingers here that we run into a nice orc pack right away. I'm gonna quickly do a search for armor, make sure I haven't missed any like plate mail lying around. Which doesn't look like it, so let's try out these gloves. +1 pair of gloves, another 2 armor class points, so no complaints there. And resist corrosion ring. Not super handy in the very early game here, but will definitely be useful later on. Ooh, we hear the hiss of flowing sand. Was that it right there? That'd be nice. No, that's not it. That's, I guess the grass should have maybe tipped me off. What is this texture supposed to be? Just the floor. That makes sense. Looks like sand. Could be wrong though. So we want to find our way to an edge of the map here. I'm going to be a little bit risky just in an attempt to find this timed portal. Stand on the stairs. I'm going to take this adder up. Kill the adder, go down for this ant. There we go. So we hear the slow hiss of a distant avalanche. So distant contrary to what it may seem, actually means fairly close, because otherwise it would be very distant. So maybe we'll keep heading this way. Ooh, Sky Beast might be a pain in the butt here as they turn invisible. Oh, but with control and a button press, you just swing to a direction, and we managed to take it out in one try there. Oops, let's not hit auto explore. We're trying to find something. Ooh, no orc priest yet. In fact, I wish I didn't run into... Oh, wait, there's... The orc priest shouts, join the one true god or die. Press Y on the ability menu to convert to... Oh. So, we just hit A and Y, and we bow before the missionary of Yo. So, Yo is an evil deity worshipped by the cave orcs native to the dungeon. Only orcs may devote their service to Yo, and they must prove their devotion with bloodshed. Especially fervent devotees of Yo will find orcish followers flocking to their banner. It is an age of signs and portents, and orcs have become increasingly certain that the coming of their messiah is nigh. That's us. And so the main things that we'll be looking out to gain here is the ability to smite foes is incredibly useful for targeted damage and to just take down the really scary threats right away. But the other main thing is definitely the ability to gain followers. So we'll be trying to get up to second pip of piety as quickly as possible, and then hopefully start building a bit of an army of our own down here. And then we'll look through the rest of that. Oh wait. Oh, hold up, I messed up there. Hit escape instead of join. Luckily, not punished for that. But let's join it this time because we'll be going over the rest of those abilities when we get a little bit higher in the chain there. Sorry, lost track of my thought here. So these guys are at least not going to continue fighting us, but they will not join our side at this point quite yet. In fact, I'm curious if these ones will go back to being aggressive after some time has passed. I'm not too sure how the first couple orcs you come across work. Oh, right. Oh my gosh, there's a time portal. I immediately forgot everything upon seeing this beautiful collection of orcs. But we may be in luck. Is this not it? Brisk avalanche sand nearby. Those are all the words we need. Oh my gosh, how do I get there? Wait for me, time portal. I promise I'll come back for you. Hopefully there is an entrance down here. Looks like it. Okay, so we made it to the time portal, even though I completely blanked out of my mind the moment that we finally found our one true calling in life. But fortunately, not completely punished for it. Now, we can mostly take care of anything we find here. These are all fairly weak enemies, so we should be able to cleave through. If we find anything very scary... Ooh. It says you're easy, but I'm always scared of mummies in the early game here. So we'll back up. Our poison darts aren't going to do a whole lot, so I'll just switch to throwing stones as enemies approach here. Might as well aim through just in case we miss the little kobold zombies. We will hit the mummies. And then we will take out... Okay, much easier than I expected. So don't always trust the game to tell me when enemies are scary in a not so straightforward way. There, we did take a decent amount of damage. I'm gonna take a quick look through the log here. So it was before we slashed, right? It was just the mummy hitting us. A nice chunk of change there, so let's not get swarmed for sure. We'll keep backing up and just bring these enemies to us. Yeah, they do hit hard when they do hit. Fortunately, it's not that often. And we're managing so far to just drag these out one at a time. Nice haul of treasure there. Should have maybe paid a bit more attention to what we picked up. Bunch of potions, whole lot of gold. And I believe that's it, but definitely still nothing to sneeze at here. And there may be, yeah, one more collection of goods here. Potions and a scroll in this one. Nice, that's a decent haul of treasure for this early in the game. Always happy to find I think that's called the ossuary. We'll just throw stones at this wizard. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. I'm really hoping we're able to take them out relatively quickly here because... There we go. They're just a pain in the butt. Just standing in the middle of the deep water. We're completely unreachable for us. And here we'll switch back to our poison darts. Ooh, this time we missed every time on this big ol' ogre pal. But okay, the tabbing ended up working out alright anyway, so we are slowly gaining power and getting to the point where we won't have to worry about some of these early threats. Ooh, but a couple of bad hits could do it. There we go, level 8 already. Let's double check our skills and see how everything's coming along here. Now that our axes are at a decent point, we're at 1.1 attack speed in the top right here, and we're almost at that 1.0. So I'm gonna start training a little bit of armor on top of everything, as well as, ooh, we have invocations available now that we are a follower of BO, so I'm gonna start cranking that up as that will make our smites deal more damage. In fact, if we don't have the ability to smite yet. Yeah, as soon as we gain this ability, which could be in this level, I almost wouldn't mind if it was one level away, because then we'd have 3 smites available. But even with having 2 smites available with our mana pool, that'll be a nice start, which hopefully we won't have to use because it does cost PAD, and we do want to save up a little bit at the start here. Which, without further ado, we should just get moving. Ooh, I'm gonna back up. Slightly worried about an ice beast if we got poisoned and took damage, but fortunately, ooh, the snake wasn't too bad. Fortunately, we did take a bunch of damage right away, so I'm gonna start backing away from the ice beast, walking towards areas we've already explored. It's just double checking the mini-map there. And hopefully they don't gain an extra step of energy. In fact, it'd be nice if they lost one. But I don't believe that an ice beast can heal. I could be wrong, but I believe a lot of these, like, not synthetic, what's the word I'm looking for? But like crystalline structured enemies, or especially like statues, definitely don't heal. I'm actually not sure with the ice beast anymore. Scratch that. But I was debating staying on the stairs, but we have a lot of real estate open land here. Oh, in fact, that also answers our question. We just saw the ice beast heal right in front of us, unfortunately. What do I wish to do? I'm gonna keep heading this way to the hatch here for now. Oh, I thought the hatch would shut them out as well for some reason. That's fine by me. Now we're in the same situation, just on the floor up. Can pillar dance a little bit. Ooh. They got 1 free attack in, which we were able to block, and then we got an extra step as a result of that. Then they caught back up to us. That's too bad. And I'm gonna go for a couple swings now that we're no longer quite in scary territory. And there we go. That fight went a little bit better for us in terms of the roll of the die there. And so let's head back down to this floor. Do you have resist corrosion, even though I don't think that matters too much against these early jellies. I hate to kill any orcs, but until a little bit from now, we'll have to do so. Okay, and there we have it. This here looks like Crazy Yusuf's house. It is indeed. Hey friend, what are you wearing today? +0 cloak of stealth. I'm always of mixed opinions with Crazy Youth. I don't like to kill him because he seems like a pretty cool dude here. Sometimes if he's wearing a really nice cloak, do so, but maybe we'll leave him around, maybe even say hello on our way back up through the dungeon with the orb, if I can remember to do so. Perfect, and that is that. Done D5, and we're finally in the religion of choice here. Still non-committal from BO, so we have more bloodshed to commit, more heretics to slay. Actually, I'm gonna take a sip of my drink here too. Some good old coffee. Dang it, friend. I don't like running into orcs this early. Wanna see you in just a bit. Ooh, we are up to 1 pip of piety now. Yo is aware of our devotion. Yes, he noticed us. They noticed us? I'm not actually sure. Gender, or lack thereof, of Bio the Brigand. I'm a proselytizer. Proselytizer? I don't know how to pronounce that word. Let me, I'll have to look that up later if I can remember that. But it does mean that we're finally starting to be noticed. We don't quite have the ability to smite yet. But once we get the next pip here, I believe we'll get smite and orcish followers. Don't quite remember how they're all matched up, the granted powers. Go here. Powers. Nope, nothing there. But the nice thing about BO is BO is one of the gods in the game who likes it when you kill anything, living, dead, undead, demons, holy, non-holy, it's all good, but especially likes it when you kill priests of other religions, so won't come in handy too much early on here, but will definitely give us some nice spikes of piety later on. Okay, this ogre has a spiked club, which is very scary. Deal a whole lot of damage. So I was hoping that the poison would do a nice chunk of damage for us, and it did so, and managed to finish them off. So we'll wait out the heal, and then let's head down and pick up this armor here. Maybe head back to our upstairs so that we can try this on. And it's a cursed +0 pair of plate armor. Not the best that it's cursed, but it's better than what we had on, so we'll just keep wearing this for the time being. And we'll leave it cursed as well, because if we can find something else that's cursed, we might as well uncurse or remove it on both at the same time. So we'll take our crew of enemies that we ran into all at once on a nice merry jaunt here. I don't love this halberd knoll, so I'm looking for a longer hallway. There we go. Now we can take out the scary scorpion right away, get in on the knoll. There we go, much better. The cursed -1 halberd. Now it's something we want to pick up. I'm gonna quickly look up if we've missed any pole arms. Just a spear. You know what? I'm gonna run back up. While we still have a lot of inventory space, I'm gonna be picking up some items that may come in handy in the future, just in order to outfit some of our followers. And we'll keep heading down. So polearms in particular are definitely a prize thing for us, because it allows, once we have some follower orcs, it allows them to attack past us while we tank the damage, since most of them will be fairly weak, especially to start out. And it'll also allow them to pass or attack past each other as well. So it's just a big win-win for sure. An early spellbook. I don't think we'll be using this, but it's the beginner air spellbook. Yeah, almost no chance of that working out in our favor. We still have sling bullets being picked up due to that hunted curse, or that cursed Hunting sling. Why do I keep wanting to mix up adjectives on these words? The hunted cursing sling was what my brain was going for there. Don't know what that's all about. Got my wires crossed somewhere today. It's a good thing that I just started drinking this coffee. As soon as that caffeine hits, maybe my brain will be able to coordinate itself a little bit better. Back, speaking of which. Okie dokie. And with that, Dungeon 6 all cleared. 1 pip of beauty. We're on our way to becoming a devout follower. This is the one issue with not starting as a monk. If you start as a monk, I think it pops you immediately up to 2 piety, which is definitely a pretty handy feature. But when I'm trying to just stay alive, I prefer the fighter just so that we're a solid tank and don't have too much to worry about in the early dungeon. But contrary to what I was just saying, something to worry about, just based on how the last Ice Beast fight went. Hopefully this time we get a bit luckier in the first couple rolls here, because that last one never should have gone as poorly as it did, I don't think. There we go, that's a bit more what I was expecting actually. And level 9 already, so we'll keep pumping that strength up until we're just dealing enough damage to get through any of the early game problems. Wow, a bunch of paralysis wand charges, hey? Not my favorite wand to get, but it could come in handy. Again, against the earlier threats here. The Ecumenical Temple. Normally a huge find, but not something we're interested in this game. I'll still go down. I'd like to explore which design pattern we get. Definitely seen this one before. Discover all the gods that we must hunt down the followers of. One day we'll come back and burn that place to the ground.